Cooking a wild hog ham with green pecan wood. William Hovey Smith, 2020. I'm an author, and I've done a number of outdoor books, and also a business book, Create Your Own Job Security, Plan to Start Your Own Business at Midlife. And what I recommend in this book is that anyone, at any age, any place, at any time, start their own businesses anytime they need to raise a little money, like maybe right now. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. And this is the 5th of July, and we're about to do some little backyard barbecuing. And what we're going to use are relatively small pieces of pecan wood, which I cut over the last several days when I had a large limb fall in the backyard. This is one of the limbs that I had down in my yard, and if you want to see actually how I cut them up and made them ready for actually barbecuing, you can see this video. It takes a little longer to get this pecan, particularly since it's green, going, and a little special technique in starting it, and so I want to show you the particulars so you can utilize this wood yourself. It's very good for barbecuing, and there's no reason not to use it. And here is our grill. This grill is about 10 years old now, and we have done a lot of burning in it, and it's starting to show real signs of failure. You can see the top rack is somewhat warped, and the interior rack, when I lift it up, is quite bent on the bottom. And these are also bent just from the wood itself, and the weight of the wood on top of these, well, at times nearly white hot pieces. So that's understandable. But nonetheless, if something lasts a decade these days, that ain't half bad. And it doesn't take a pretty grill to cook good food. And mine certainly does not qualify in the pretty anymore, but it is certainly functional. I have a piece of ordinary paper towel down here, and we're going to use that. And we have some wasps building a nest right there, which is a little bit of an inconvenience, but they will quickly leave once we start some smoke going. On top of this paper, the first layer of material I'm going to put down are some dried wood chips. And these are things I collected all over the years. And there's a little pine straw in here, a little moss and other stuff. Then on top are going to go some dried twiggy pieces of wood. The smaller the better at the bottom. While this is still loose, I'm going to go ahead and light it. You can see the paper start to burn, and some other small combustibles start to catch here. We want to encourage all this, of course. A little dry pine straw helps. now we've got a little bit of a flame going. You can sort of add to a little bit. Start putting on some bigger twigs and pieces of wood. Got a little breeze, which helps. Now the first few pieces of our actual green wood can go. Wood can start warming up good. So, what we have here now is sort of a good little fire going. The wood is certainly caught, and it's starting to dry and catch up the other. You'll hear a hissing sound, and that's actually water being baked out of the green wood sections. And so we can just proceed to let that do its thing for a while. And we have dispossessed our wasps. They are gone. No. The interesting thing here is, of course, there are no chemicals used except these derived from the wood itself. Not that necessarily everything derived from wood is all that helpful or healthy. And matter of fact, there are some woods that are absolutely toxic. One South African tree, I don't know the name of it, but I know that to be a fact from having been there. So as more of the fire starts, then we'll continue to add this smaller wood until we get a good bed of coals that we feel we can really start cooking on. I've added more of the green wood on top, and the idea is to use any heat liberated by what's burning underneath to preheat, drive the moisture off, and get the top wood ready to burn. A lot of the dried wood now is almost completely combusted underneath, so I'm now actually burning off what was once green wood for the most part. And that's exactly what you want your fire to do. I'm being aided by a fairly consistent but light breeze, and you can see the smoke drifting away rapidly. This is exactly what you want to happen. You can see some combustible gases flaming off the top where it's not actually burning on the wood itself. That's just an aspect of the, again, gases being given off by the wood underneath, not quite reaching the combustion point until it gets the top there, and then it is ignited. So, yeah, doing good. Now, could you cook on a fire like this? Not really. We got to let this thing calm down a good bit before we start doing any serious cooking on it. But it's off to a good start. Yeah, this is a good one-match burn. This is a hog I took from Ossabaw Island, and I used a Ruger Old Army handgun, and this was chambered for 45 long Colt by the use of a conversion cylinder. As an outdoor writer, I customarily hunt with a variety of unusual handguns. And in this case, we have the Old Army by Ruger, which is a percussion revolver, and a 45 long Colt conversion cylinder for it. And this is what I killed the hog with. And this hog has been frozen for, now not quite 3 years. And I have a YouTube video up about it. This one was taken with the assistance of a North American alligator as a hunting partner. An unusual situation developed, but it worked. And I got my hog. If you'd like to see how a gator helped me get this hog, well, you can watch this video too. So this actually is the ham itself. There is significant meat here on this portion so we'll leave it on there. And just take any of this oxidized membranous material off it. You can see a little, actually there's a little dirt on here, so yeah, we'll remove that. Okay, I'll put a little bit of a rub on it and some salt. This rub has some cinnamon and nutmeg in it. Now this can just sit here and absorb all these good flavors, and in the meantime I'll go and check on my wood. The fire is starting to give me the first impression of really good cooking coals down there at the bottom, but I need to convert all of that wood to coals. Since I'm going to have to cook it for certainly more than an hour, then I'm going to need to get a bigger bed of coals. So I'm going to rearrange that wood and add another layer. We're going good, particularly for a beautiful, sunny, dry day here in Georgia. If this was a rainy day in Scotland, which is the usual condition, then you might not have quite so good a luck. But this is doing fine. That'll catch up well. I put some corn on the cob in the husk on the top rack there. Allow it to salvage a little bit of this heat. And there's nothing better than having good spring corn, early corn, sweet corn. And so we're going to let that work up a little bit. Now this is a technique, of course, used by the Native Americans and pioneers and home grillers ever since. The only The only bad attribute about it is you probably do cook a few earworms in there, but I'm not too concerned about it. Young grillers at this stage just can't stand it no more, and they got to put some meat on here. While you still have a lot of live flame coming up from the wood, a little bit of live flame is okay, but this is too much. So be patient, wait for a while, unless you're cooking something very thin. Even so, you're going to get a lot of grease burn from something like this. You're going to get some anyway, but that's just too much flame to put meat on right now. I think we're now starting to look good. It's still burning a little bit, particularly some of the fresher stuff. That'll provide a little smoke. So I believe we can take the corn off, which I believe should be just about prime now. You don't want to burn it all around, but yeah, that should have enough heat on it to cook that young tender corn. And actually, you could eat it raw, but this is certainly hot enough to melt butter, and put a little salt on it, which is what's desired at this stage. There are almost no visible flames at all, so that's exactly what's wanted. The grill is certainly hot. Well, the meat has been on for an hour. I was confident of my fire, so I have not looked at it since. It went up to 375. It's now about 250 degrees. So it's still cooking, although I don't no longer see any smoke. So we may have to rekindle a little bit and see how we're doing. All right, that is looking about as it should. We are definitely cooking. I need to flip. Okay, a little char on the outside, that's okay. I suspect we're not too far from done, actually. This is not a huge piece of meat. We'll do the stab test and see how we do. No blood. Blood. I think we are very nearly done. At this stage, we're just going to throw the corn back on and let it heat back up to a good butter melting temperature. And we have attracted the attention of a certain hound doggy. Now we'll just let that continue to heat whilst we get the meat sliced and prepared to serve. Does that taste good? You think that smells good? Dog approves. Well, we have our 4th of July dinner ready. We have our corn cooked in the husk. This is dill deer potato salad, and I have a previous video about doing that, and the recipe is also in Backyard Deer in my other books. And then, of course, our barbecued pork. Now, this has no barbecue sauce on it yet. So, if one desired, one could indeed put barbecue sauce on it or top it off before you cooked it with a barbecue sauce, but I've done neither. This is roast wild pork, and you'll notice the color is brown. It's not pink. Pork is not naturally a pink meat. Dye is put in commercial pork, so that's what makes it pink. It's nothing to do with the natural aspect of the meat at all. So this is cool now. It will be sliced up, and over on the stove in a pot, the bones and what meat was attached to them is going to make a soup. So we have yet to finish this. Now, so far as the corn goes, we heated it once, as you saw early on, and now have reheated it. So it is now quite warm to the touch, guaranteed. And the way it's consumed is you take it back to the root here, and the shucks now become your handle. So now you can butter. You can see the butter just melts instantly on it. Sprinkle a little salt on it if you desire, and consume. And these first ears of corn, or sweet corn, I don't care where you're from. This is some of the best eating there is. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe, goodbye, God bless, and see you next time. I'm not done with this ham cooking. Now, the ashes actually go on my food plot to help neutralize my acid soils, and the boiled bones were used to cook a soup, and then the bones were given to the dogs. Now, hams with the skin on cook better because the skin and the fat beneath it help protect the meat. On mine, I don't have that option of scalding because I shoot mines oftentimes in distant places. If you don't want so much char on the outside of your ham, just go ahead and cook it for about 5 minutes per side and then wrap it in aluminum foil. Frozen hams wrapped in plastic and paper, as I do it, will keep for years, so there's no problem about them aging out. For more information on my books, blogs, and more than 825 videos, go to my website, www.hoveysmith.com. For information on my business books, go to createyourownjobsecurity.com. To find out more about my novel, screenplay, and movie, Father of the Grooms, go to fatherofthegrooms.net. Hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Goodbye and God bless.